Alright, we about ready, gents?
Yeah.
Alright. If we can cease firing into floors and walls and things. Right, so welcome to Infantry Training 101. Right, firstly, why are we doing this? Well, basically, the big reveal is that I have, for a while, had on my hard drive an operations post written. This is about how... Actually, forget all that. Can people hear me first, just to be clear?
Yep.
Right, good. Right, anyway, I have on my hard drive an operations post written of the 3 major types of operations we're going to be doing. Less explosions at the back there, please. Right, anyway. So, the first one is going to be rampages. That's not directly relevant to training, but anyway, that will be fun, big platoon, go where we feel like, big battles, cert gain, relaxed. The second will be pretty much what we run now, which will be called organized operations. And that will be about the level of organization we run now. The third, and one of the points of this infantry training, will be highly organized operations. Now, before we can engage in these, we are going to need some training, and this is part of the reason. This is also, however, this training is also to improve our general effectiveness as a squad, and, well, as a platoon. And also to make you die less and hopefully gain more certs. Now, hang on, someone's saying something in sector chat. No, never mind, it's not important. Right. So, very brief history of my FPS gaming first. I know a lot of you are Battlefield veterans, so you'd be pretty good tactically. I used to play Ace of Spades quite a lot, which is a good introduction to instant death gaming. Then I played Red Orchestra, which is a immediate difficulty cliff and smack into the wall with a brutality. Yeah, it's horrific, in a good way, but it's still horrific. Then there's Tribes, which is obviously an extraordinarily skill-based shooter, which, amazingly, I actually managed to become a proficient sniper in, which is remarkable considering how cack-handed I am. Anyway, from these I have learnt various things which I intend to share with you tonight. Hopefully I won't be going over too much you already know. I expect some of you will already know some stuff, but we're gonna... Yes, Sentinel Master Race, damn right, Luke. But anyway, we are going to try and hopefully go over everything. But generally, when I explain stuff, I assume my audience knows nothing to make sure I cover everyone's level of knowledge as best I can. Right, so anyway, firstly, what are our principal hobbies in the new conglomerate? Anyone tell me?
Killing freedom!
Whoop whoop!
Well,
Moaning about our guns, I think.
that's one of them. Right. I was going to say our principal hobby is getting our ass kicked by the Vanu and the Terran Republic. Our secondary hobby is moaning about our guns. Now,
Really? Masturbating? That is pretty high up the list, though.
not in the new conglomerate, that's your own thing. Anyway, back to focusing on shooting us. Has anyone watched the basic training videos?
Yeah.
Yes.
Some of you...
No.
If some of you will know this, then some of you don't. For the benefit of those of you who haven't, this is quite important. Our guns suffer a large amount of recoil. Now, they are about, I think, the correct strength and power level, but possibly the recoil kind of fires too much. Anyway, basically we need to get more accurate. There is a method for doing this. Those of you who can see bullet holes, if you could all turn and face the wall I'm facing at the moment. Those of you who can't, I will do a demonstration. I am number 1, I am currently bouncing up and down, and pointing at the air.
Don't shoot me.
Alright, look at the wall I'm facing now. Right, those of you who can't see bullet holes, I have a workaround for you in a moment. Right, now I am a medic. I am using an unmodified GRS-22 with absolutely no modifications, standard iron sights, no front grip, nothing. So this is what the bullet holes from hipfire look like. Those of you who can't see it, bear with me. I have a workaround for you. So that's the hipfire spread from this distance. It's a close combat weapon, so this is probably the kind of distances you'll be using it at.
I want me to show how it looks like with a fully pimped out one?
Not right now, maybe later. This is what it looks like from standard iron sights. Notice it is pretty much a diagonal line from bottom right to upper left. So, obviously, that is not good if you are trying to hit someone frantically, especially if they're a high health max or anything, but it also means your distance fire will be worse. Obviously, the further bullets go, the more the effects of recoil will be felt and the less accurate things will get. You already know most of this. So, a simple method for compensating, moving over to this right wall over here, people can still see where I'm facing. People see that? Notice how much more on focus those bullets are. A simple recoil correction. That was... No, normally it pulls from bottom left to upper right. So basically it pulls up and to the right. By gently pulling downward and to the bottom left, you can almost feel it if you're trying to tune yourself into it. You can create a narrower cone of fire, thus increasing your effectiveness and reducing recoil, and principally dealing with one of the main problems the NC have. Ceasefire, please. We'll get to that in a minute.
I'm on your side.
So, that helps deal with one of the major problems we have. Now, the devs will probably buff our guns or nerf our opponents, but they will be data mining first, probably for at least a month. That we will. In the meantime, we are going to have to deal with this, and besides, which is good technique to improve this sort of stuff anyway. Obviously, there are some guns this doesn't affect much, like single-shot sniper weapons, but for assault rifles, it's important. Now, key thing. Recoil is different for every gun, different patterns. My Reaper DMR, which is my favorite medic weapon, has a straight up recoil and is somewhat lower because it's got a lower fire rate. The effectiveness of this was shown to me when I was sat on top of an aircraft tower sniping people with the Reaper DMR from a considerable distance. I am not a great shot and I was still hitting people by using recoil correction with a standard assault rifle with no sights, probably about 200-ish meters away, which is fantastic by my standards. That will help. So, recoil correction is important. So, thing to do now, if you haven't already messed about with it, is fire at... Phone? I can hear a phone.
Amazing organising, guys. Real good organising.
What was that? Was that in TeamSpeak or was that something else?
Yeah, and about. I'll talk to you later, man. We're doing a training thing online.
CPU meltdown.
Really?
Wait.
Right.
Someone needs to enable push to talk.
Anyway, so those of you who cannot see my bullet holes or want to find out the recoil of your own gun, fire at a wall using standard iron sights. Don't try and control your shot. In a minute, not yet. Find your own little section of wall and look at how the recoil is. Then spend a minute or two trying to compensate for it and get a tighter spread of fire. So that's our first little exercise. Focus. Some of you already know this. Those of you who don't, mess about with it. Those of you who have attachments, obviously consider how those attachments affect it. But right, focus on what you're doing anyway.
And also, it might be worth trying it whilst standing and crouched to see whether it makes any kind of difference for you for the amount.
Yep, so do your first set as standing, second as crouching. If you need to change weapons, there's a terminal in here somewhere, I think.
Just outside.
We sound like we're having the biggest rave ever.
So this is a standard meeting of the NRA in America.
Yeah.
Has
Except
anybody
with
else
Charlton
noticed-
Heston.
Guys,
Has
we
anybody
know
else
Charlton
noticed that
Heston.
he keeps firing?
Shoot more of the ceiling, guys. Shoot more of the ceiling.
Has anybody
It's
else
like-
noticed if he keeps firing, it eventually stops going up and stays there?
Yeah.
Yeah, but when it
LMGs
starts
are
doing
supposed
that,
to do that
it
anyway,
starts
but-
spreading bullets everywhere.
I need to get an LMG to be honest, because they're gonna have. They're supposed to be more stable. Their royal recoil's meant to sort of tail off.
And
Whoever has an ammo pack,
Ammo down on the first one.
Congratulations on all the points you're getting.
Why are we doing this in a building without a terminal?
There's one outside.
Oh, is there?
Yeah.
Idiota.
Don't forget the B button as well.
Which outside? You only need the B button.
I'm going to extend this couple of minutes for people to try out their different weapons, so we'll just be going on doing this for a couple of minutes. But experiment with your recoil, get an idea. Obviously this is something you can do by yourself when you're just preparing for a squad or you just want to check out your recoil quickly. But every weapon's recoil is different, so yeah, carry on a little bit, mess with your attachments, just, we'll do this for about 2 more minutes. Anyway, so set platoon compositions, stuff like that. But for now, current mini objective is squad cohesion, keeping people just geographically together as a group. Now, Sundra Doctrine, right, we will either do the disciplined medics or we will do the Sundra respawns en masse. So you get to the Sundra, you respawn there, you wait until there's a large enough group to move on with. And that kind of links in to one of the mini tactics. Now, complex tactics in video games don't tend to work. There is no fear of death in this, so the kind of discipline in real-world armies becomes irrelevant. However, there is one simple, well, a combination of simple tactics I would like to try, not necessarily tonight, but it's on the cards. That is fire teams, basically. Now, in the real world, I don't know how much you guys know about military stuff. A lot of you are nerds like me, so a lot of you also know a fair bit, and some of you have done, I believe, have served in one military or another. So anyway, fire team is basically a half squad, roughly, approximately. Let's not bother about exact classification of that. Now, fire teams in this game will exist as half a squad. So numbers 1 through 6 will be fire team A, 7 to 12 will be fire team B, along those lines. And a very simple tactic I would like to actually try to see if it works would be one squad moves, one squad covers. That's simple. Moving as a group, one squad moves, one squad covers to help for stronger advances. If it doesn't work, we'll change it. All of this is in permanent beta, as with most stuff with our outfit. We will change stuff that doesn't work. So yeah, that will link in with Sundry Doctrines as well. So perhaps we will only wait for a fire team to respawn before moving on. Perhaps it will be a whole squad. It will depend on the situation and who's in command. Again, a lot of this, it's all circumstantial. It's always all circumstantial. So that is part of the, again, the big thing at the moment I want to focus on is squad cohesion, keeping together as a unit. We're not going to have to do this all the time. Again, that individuality is fun. It's often fun to run off and capture the mini-spawn because no one else is smart enough to think about it. You feel like a god. But at the same time, for highly organised ops, we're going to have to curb individuality somewhat. And again, must emphasise, because I do feel need to emphasise this, we're not going to turn into Nazis. There will be highly organised ops will be something a bit rare because they are going to require a hell of a lot of organisation and planning. Sorry, feel like? What's your question, Ether? Can you just type that in the text? You got it. Okay, thank you. Apologies for you listening to me eating an apple. Right. So yeah, again, focus on that easygoing thing because I don't want us to turn into arses because that wouldn't be fun. Right, look at my carefully organised notes scrawled on the back of an envelope, as the same as I did for the infantry leadership thing. Well, the general leadership thing. Current fire, and yeah, we will have to try and keep tactics simple because, again, no fear of death, infinite respawns, advanced tactics will generally not work. Strategies might, some of Locke's ingenious galaxy drops and other smart things that other people have come up with over time have worked spectacularly well. But anyway. We're almost done now, unless people want to pursue some exercises. But the thing I want to say is, when organised ops do happen, the first seriously organised op, I expect it to be a disaster. I expect the first 7 or 8 to be a disaster, from which we will learn. Real-world military experience generally goes along those lines. D-Day was unsuccessful because of the massive screw-up at Gallipoli by the British. Generally, yeah, it's militaries, if they're smart, learn from mistakes. The general schema in the real world being it's the side that makes the least mistakes that wins. We're going to have to make mistakes first and learn from it. So I expect the first highly organised operation to be a disaster, and I'm not bothered about it. I'll consider it. I'll consider the first 6 or 7 test runs. Right, that is almost it. So yeah, again, don't worry, a lot of the really strictly disciplined stuff will not be general stuff. It will be stuff we are doing when we are, you know, running highly organised ops. Anyway, I will go over a very quick summary of the night now, then we will do questions and exercises if people want to, or we'll go back to normal play, because I realise I greatly appreciate you lot sticking around to listen to me instead of shooting things. I do appreciate you coming here to shoot things, and you might have limited free time, so yeah, I appreciate that. Anyway, so, quickly. Operations are coming. Rampages, broad, fun, charge, let's all get flashes, let's all get vanguards. Into that building, it's a big fight there. Rah! It's good fun. All fun, all on the same channel. Camaraderie, all good. Need the least organisation. Semi-organised ops, like what we do now with a bit more planning. Varying levels of discipline, depending on what exactly is going on, who's in command, about the same. Highly organised ops with platoon composition, which I need to work on. Foxtrone, before he disappeared, I think he's working really hard at the moment, came up with a platoon composition, which I need to mess about with and test if it works and do some other stuff too. But yeah, there will be set platoon compositions. We're going to work on specializations as well. I realise I've abandoned that a bit. War is coming back to that. Specializations will be coming and will be used as well as for teaching. There will be actively people playing them. I need to work away into combining that into composed squads though, as well as some special operations stuff I'm thinking about, like black operations, specific anti-vehicle ops, and lots of other fancy things. Anyway, so yes, that's why we are doing this. Anyway, combat training. Remember your recoil handling, test your guns, find out what your recoil is. Ooh, something I missed, which we'll cover in a minute. Actually, it'll be fairly quick, though, and everyone will be talking for that. Sniper method. Yeah.
It looks like your thigh's on fire.
Not for the first time. Anyway. Any of you who've seen my stage act on Saturday nights in certain street clubs will know this. Anyway, right, sniper methodology. Remember, be in broad terrain, don't be in focused terrain, aim at focused terrain. Don't silhouette yourself in doorways, be careful silhouetting yourself in windows. Put mines and ammo packs in doorways to your advantage, not to your enemies. Watch out for going through doorways, be careful of it. It's all about that opposed balance thing of remembering what you'd do if you were in the other side constantly, which is difficult.
And don't forget to not skyline yourself on a ridge.
Yes, things like that as well.
Yeah,
Visibility.
Thing.
Yes?
I noticed when switching weapons, there is a small delay before you can fire. Basically, if you switch from a rocket launcher back to your rifle, if you're getting attacked, it's a bad idea. You should switch to your gun, because you can fire almost instantly.
Oh, I meant to mention this actually.
Also, if someone catches... Oh, sorry. Oh, you go first.
Okay, this is just a quick thing. You go ahead first, I'm going to read the speech of Apple.
Okay. If you get caught while reloading, don't try and run away or wait for your gun to reload. Pull your pistol, because pistols come out pretty quick in this game. And I've killed a lot of guys while I was reloading.
Smart. Didn't know that.
Especially
Right.
the upgraded pistol.
I
Anyway,
haven't upgraded
yeah,
it at
one
all.
thing along that
I
line.
use the Rebel.
If you
but
have
I
a
haven't
rocket in
upgraded
your
it at all
rocket
yet.
launch in your hand, primed and ready, and you notice you have some fellow sneaking up on your right, don't feel ashamed to whack him with the rocket.
Oh, never.
So that, and something simple I meant to mention that I can't believe I forgot. Don't sprint around corners, because you'll get shot while you can't, when your weapon takes a second to come back up to adjust. So I normally sprint pretty much all the time I'm moving, but when I'm smart, I don't sprint around corners. Buildings, you're probably better off sprinting into, making yourself less of a target and diving for the nearest cover you can get, rather than slowly and cautiously going in and getting shot by smart people watching the door like Malchrist. So yeah, anyway, general summary, fast, blah 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 blah. Yeah, watch out when you're indoors. Anti-vehicle teams, ideally we're going to need teams for that. That is something we can even work on in normal operations. We've already had some people working as anti-air maxes for Sunderers, which is excellent. It's a very good thing to have in transit, so there's that. Right, squad keys and keeping people together as one unit, geographically as a unit, not just having people working together, but having people in the same location, moving and as a unit. Slightly more advanced tactics such as split fire teams and medics hang back, move and cover, simple stuff like that. We will experiment with this. Again, we're not going to go all hardest, and remember, highly organised ops are not going to be all the time because it will get oppressive and everyone will get bored and stressed. Right, there is one last thing, and this is going to be more of an open discussion. I would like people to talk about attachments, actually, because I should have put a post on the forum about this already. But has anyone got any particularly good or particularly bad attachments they'd need to know about for general firearms?
Night vision,
Yeah,
super.
Reisiger here. I have the medic, the Alpha Squad bonus you get, GR22, I think. If you can see me, I'm over here, jumping up and down, the thing with the laser sight. So I've put on an infrared scope, a foregrip, and the dot laser to aid me in being able to shoot from the hip.
Can you use the dot laser and the foregrip at the same time?
Yep.
Oh, I didn't know that.
The thing you need to bear in
this
mind
thing
though,
has
is that
a
the dot
lower
laser's a
recoil.
trade-off.
It has a lower recoil, and the scatter. When you see the crosshair, that's depending on what weapon you have. The size of the crosshair is smaller or bigger, and I'm using the advanced laser dot, which about cut the scatter pattern or the size of the crosshair to about a fourth. But of course, it also goes up if I start firing. But my recoil pattern is a lot less than it was without the attachments.
Is there something about the fact Zarko was telling me that he'd been reading some of the stats of it? Is it the forward grip does horizontal
Forward
recoil?
grip's horizontal recoil, yeah, and compensators vertical.
So depending on what you need to tighten by shooting it against the wall and seeing the pattern, you should get the associated attachment for it.
Something to bear in mind about the red laser coming out the gun is people will see you coming around corners with it. The laser, if you're aiming the laser, people will see it to a certain distance.
Does it work like the torch? Can you use L to turn it on and off?
I don't know. I haven't tried.
Yep.
Yes,
you can.
Oh, excellent.
Oh, I didn't know that.
But
Is that-
okay. That's worth bearing
cool,
in mind,
yeah.
though. Just turn it on when you need it, because otherwise you give your position away.
How can you have both forward grip and laser sight? It's the same rail.
You can't.
okay.
The word is rail.
If they're rail, yeah, you can only have one rail attachment.
Oh,
Yeah.
right, sorry.
And-
I forgot that. This isn't the same gun. This one has, the rail. So this one has...
Yeah.
I got soft point ammunition for that one. That's the other thing I have.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
If I were going to
This
recommend-
one's
that's a passive
naughty
cert,
in
though.
close range.
I think that's a passive cert on weapons. You don't necessarily have to slot that, do you? Well, I have
you
that.
do.
Yeah,
Ammo
it
you
goes
have.
in the ammo slot.
Oh, right.
Because there's
It's
up to 4
ages since I
things
bought
you can
mine.
get
I
on it.
forgot. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and the
There is
Yeah, you can
one
have a
thing I
scope.
just thought.
a scope, a rail, a barrel attachment, I think, and ammo.
None who wanted to speak before Melchrist? Go ahead.
I was going to say the laser sight is useful if you've got a scope that's probably 4 times or greater, because for close in you don't want to zoom in, so it's good for you to fire from the hip. But if your normal one is, if your normal preference is to fire from range, like me, I've got the 4x true sight on mine, so I like to shoot at people at range.
I'm using it here for 2 reasons. One, when I'm a medic, I'm running around a lot, so I end up in a situation where I have to shoot from the hit a lot. The second thing is I'm using an infrared scope, so I can clearly see enemies outlined against buildings, and I can see in the filtrators trying to sneak by.
Right. Anyway, we should...
Sorry, can I just
Yeah,
ask
go.
one quick
Go ahead.
question? But any heavy assaults that are using any of the weapons really, do you recommend a flash suppressor or a suppressor?
Flash suppressor would be awesome.
Yeah, flash suppressor. Yeah, I haven't got it yet, but yeah, that would be pretty good.
And
I use suppressor on my GD. I know it wasn't no difference.
high velocity ammunition for any machine gun is incredibly useful.
Which ammunition? Sorry.
High velocity.
Where do I get that?
It's listed in the certs tree.
For heavy assault, I'd say that the foregrip is pretty much essential for every light machine gun. For the rail, that really is the only choice that's going to make a big difference.
Okay, so I can't see this high velocity ammo.
It's not available for all weapons.
And with light machine guns not being massively useful at range, I'd say you really want a nice open scope, like a reflex sight as well.
Yeah, reflex 2 times is my one of choice.
Yeah.
I got two times on the GD22S, which is quite good.
I was going to ask, has anyone messed about with max anti-infantry weapons? Can anyone tell me if the Matic's worth buying? I'm interested in a max shotgun that's got a bit of a longer range.
I never bothered about it. I thought about it when I was trying buying the second one, but you can get slug ammo for the max for the scatter gun, which that has the effect of being more accurate and longer range. But the splatter max is designed for close range, really close range. In your face.
And it is really good, but you can pretty much achieve the same thing with a Falcon, twin Falcons at close range.
I remember you,
I've been having fun with using a scatter pod and the Falcon to sort of 1-2 shot a shield away and then wham him in the face with the Falcon.
What I find really handy with the scatter max is the scatter, because basically if you're going to hold a doorway, if you're defensive as a max, then I think the scatter cannon's slightly better, because wherever they come through that doorway you can hit them. But generally, if you're going to be hitting people from any kind of distance, you definitely don't want the scatter cannon. The Falcon's better if you're going to be outdoors, because you can take vehicles, you can take infantry.
Yeah, one thing about being a splatter max
Hell, you
is
can even take aircraft with it.
only fire both at once if you're in a if you need to. So if you watch me now shooting, yeah, now I'm a sitting duck until I reloaded, and I found out that if I'm getting hit fast, strong enough, it interrupts my reload.
One thing I've got is I've unlocked
takes
dual
one clip of my
hacksaws.
shotgun to kill a max, so that's quite fast.
And the hacksaw is the fully automatic version of the scatter cannon, and that makes my life much more easy because I am crap at aiming where I have to keep clicking the button to shoot. So it makes my life much easier.
Yeah, I mean,
I highly recommend them.
with the scatter cannon and the burster, I kind of would recommend firing both arms at once if there's only one target and you definitely want him dead and you've got good aim. But you need really good aim. So if you haven't got good aim, I wouldn't really get either. Not the burster, the Falcon, I mean. So I wouldn't really go for the Falcon and the scatter cannon if your aim's not good. I'd go for something like, did you say the hacksaw's the full auto one?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably a better option.
This guy's got a huge reload time though.
One thing to
It
say
is.
about shotguns, pretty much all you need is an extended clip.
Yeah.
Right, anyway, I think we should probably call it there because...
There is one thing, Fartech, I would like to just reiterate.
Okay, one last thing.
It's not to do with weapon attachments. I've spammed it a lot to most people, but just to make sure everyone here knows what it is. It's when using an engineer, you can put the ammunition box down without actually carrying the ammunition box. I don't know if it's a bug or whether it's intentional, but if you switch to the mana turret, like I've done now, it's in the middle of the room. Right now I've got the ability to place a turret down that I can see on the screen. If you press B, which is the fire rate select, it changes the deployment to an ammunition pack, and then you can just plant an ammunition pack on the ground.
Right.
So it means that it lets me carry mines or motion or detectors. I can put a mine down, and then if I switch back to the turret or to the deployment thing, I can also deploy a turret. So it then means I can, you know, vastly superior means I can mine a door, put ammo down, and then put a turret down. And that's all just from me.
Awesome.
Right, anyway. I know people probably have more useful things to say, but we should probably put this into practice. Anyway, just quickly, thank you for attending. I am immensely pleased with the result of this, as I was with the leadership course, and surprised at how many people turned up. Thank you for listening and coming to this, because you guys have made it a success. As expected, I learned a lot too, so yeah, I'm very, very happy with this. Right, so
Can
Mr.
I just quickly mention something? Nopper has asked me to mention, because his English isn't that good compared to his text English. He's asked me to mention that anyone really interested in sniping as an infiltrator, look up, Google it or whatever, about drag shooting. And I must admit, I've seen videos of this on YouTube in Battlefield 3. I don't snipe myself, but apparently if you learn about drag shooting, it makes you a much better sniper.
As do lower mouse sensitivities, actually. I need to cover that whole topic and a whole thing of tone.
It's fast scoping and drag shooting.
Did somebody throw a flashbang?
Yes.
Sorry,
Anyway.
When you notice Cloudhead's positioning in this base, I haven't noticed that you can sit on top of doorways like that. That's actually really good for light assaults.
Yeah, thanks, Master.
Human
Yeah, thank you guys. Right. We should. Wait, does someone want to say one last thing? One last thing. Was that you, Bush, or? It isn't the hotel room, shut up. Right. Anyway. So, would people like to try these techniques, or would people want to go back? Oh, sorry, yes, go on.
I was being Columbo, ignore me.
Didn't someone want to take a group picture while there was so many
Oh,
together?
yes, let us do that. Someone wants to take a picture. How do you do that? I can't get my key bindings to work. I've altered them 3 times and they still won't do anything.
I would use print screen and paint.
Hold on.
If you're on Steam, you can
if I
press
may
F12.
suggest, let's use that wall where several people are standing on the console with the screen behind.
Let's
So
get everybody on the
one row
stairs,
top,
we can
one
do like a-
standing, and one and a few crouching
crazy
down in
stuff.
front.
Everybody on the stairs would be funny.
Max at the back, please.
Yeah, everyone on the stairs. Everyone on the stairs.
Get the Max
But-
up on the console because he's taller.
Everyone on the stairs.
Are we doing stairs or console? Stairs or console?
Stairs.
To the stairs, mobile.
That sounds like the worst car ever. It sounds like the Pope Mobile.
Poop mobile.
The stairs mobile looks like. Oh, I can
It
imagine
sounds
now.
like the stairs that you need to roll up next to the plane.
Yeah, that's what I was
We get the
about
max
to say.
at the max at the back, Isaac.
It'll be like a cartoon show where like it's got all the squad just on the stairs going up them.
To the sky!
Isn't it well to stand outside and the one taking the screenshots is on the roof?
Yeah, like a wedding.
What are you guys doing?
NT wedding.
That's fun.
Taking
A shotgun wedding.
That was a good idea.
With real
Kids with guns. Kids with guns. Taking over. I won't be long.
How do you show?
Have we got
They mesmerize. Skeletons.
How do you show?
Kids with guns. Kids with
You
guns.
do it in settings, general,
That's it. That's it.